It's starting to look like a surf shop in my house. I gotta do something about this. I can't move. I got 2 bodyboards blocking the back door. I got a boogie board on the floor. I got one under the bed. I got a Mach 10 there. I got a Mach 7 SS there. I got a Mach 7 SS there. I got my Mach 77. I like looking at the bodyboards, I do, but it's getting out of control. I need a little feng shui in this place. Do you guys know what feng shui is? Alright, so this is where I'm currently storing my vintage boards. I got 2 over here that aren't vintage. So, I'm thinking we're gonna build a shelf right here. This way I can stack double. So that is 37 inches by 26 inches. And it's going to be less than that because I never put the molding up here, so I am gonna cut it shorter to account for the molding that I never installed because I'm lazy. I put a hole in this wall and never finished it, but that's what I do. I do things 90% and then I stop. I said to myself, you know what? It's good enough. So I subtracted the width of the molding and it came out to 23 1/4. Times that by 2, we got 46.5. Then we got the width, 37 times 2, that's 74. And then if you add those together, it comes out to 120, which basically means I need to buy a freaking 12-footer. I was hoping I could do this with a 10-footer, but a 10-foot times 12 is 120, so now I'm a half an inch short. So we just arrived at the Home Depot. I should call this place the home of where you buy discount power tools off crackheads. I used to work at this store, and about once a week I'd have crackheads coming there trying to sell, you know, DeWalt drills, circular saws, all that kind of stuff. I knew a guy, I don't want to say any names, but he used to buy filet mignons that came out of the pants of crackheads. I said, you really gonna eat that? He's like, this is an $85 steak. It's an $85 piece of meat. And then he would have a barbecue and feed it to all his friends, not knowing they were eating bowls. Not knowing they were eating the crackhead bowls. Alright, so the 12-footers is $7.82, and the 8-footers are $3.98. So I'm just gonna grab 2 of these because I'll be getting an extra 4 feet. Alright, so after completely demolishing the lumber section at Home Depot, I found 2 decent pieces. Minimal knots, pretty clean wood, not much ink on the other side of them. Alright, so we gotta paint this thing. We're not gonna leave it wood color. And being that this is going to be for vintage bodyboards, I figured we're gonna go 80s. And by 80s, I mean fluorescent. I'm thinking pink with green lettering. Alright, so we're currently in the hole $24.93. I bought some primer. So I've had this wood drying in my living room for a few days. I figured it's dry enough to play around with. So I brought all my tools out, got everything I thought I would need, some clamps to hold the wood, a speed square, tape measure, pencil paper, a brand new blade on my saw, and a freshly charged battery. But first, we're gonna have to move all these boogie boards. Alright, so we're all cleared out over here. So I need this measurement from here to here. That's 2 5/8. Next, I'm gonna add some tape. I'm gonna guesstimate where the 2 5/8 is. I'd say it's about right there. Stick that on the wall so that I don't have to write on the wall, because we're not little kids. We don't scribble on the wall with our crayons, although I used to do that. Now I'm going to measure, I'm gonna guesstimate the height, 2 5/8, and I'm gonna mark it right here. That's it. We got a 2 5/8 mark. Now, this is a angled wall on the other side here, so I'm gonna have to use this part to get the measurement. I'm going to measure from here to here, and that is 23 1/4.
23 1/4.
Now, because we have this molding here, the wood is not going to come to the edge of the wall. I can cut it that way. I'd have to cut it on the angle so that it meets like that, but I'd rather just make everything square. So I am gonna have a space right here. All right, so here's what I just wrote down. Here's my imaginary molding that I installed, because I don't like to finish jobs, I got 23 1/4 minus, now we're gonna take the 23 1/4 minus the 3 inches for the width of the 2x4 equals 20 1/4. And we're gonna need 2 of those pieces. And this is our first 2 cuts. I didn't even make my first cut yet, and I'm already bleeding. Alright, so I'm gonna use the cleaner piece of wood for the face of the shelf, and the knottier piece for the sides that you won't see. Also, the ends of these 2x4s are never straight, so I am gonna trim it off before I measure, and we're gonna do that now. Crucial thing that I forgot. Don't forget your safety goggles, guys. Don't forget the safety goggles. All right, we're professionals here. We don't want to hurt our eyes. All right, so we got our 2 pieces 20 1/4 inches long. Now we have to measure out the length of the shelf. All right, so we're not measuring edge of wall to edge of wall over here. So I want to make sure my rule is somewhat straight. I don't want to measure it on an angle like this. So I put my square right here just to guide me a little bit. So now I know that my ruler is completely straight. And our reading is 36 3/4. I'm gonna measure it on the other side, just in case this wall, you know, they're not even. Maybe this one's crooked, maybe that one's crooked. So I'm gonna measure it on both sides. All right, so to measure this side, I redid the tape and put it at the height of the table so that I knew exactly where the molding was coming out to. So I got my square up against the exact mark where the molding is, and this is 24 inches. So what I'm going to do is measure the 24 inches and add, this base is 13 inches, so we're 24 plus 13. That's 37 inches. So we're a 1/4 of an inch bigger, I believe. Glad that I measured. Before we do another cut, ice cream break. It's delicious. Blue sprinkles. All right, so we got our 4 pieces cut. Now we're gonna dry fit it. Make sure we did everything correctly. All right, so we got a side piece here. That's gonna go in place. Now we got this piece. I did cut this perfect, so hopefully she fits in there nice. Oh, it's a little tight. All right, so what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna sand this down with some 80 grit sandpaper. I don't think it's going to need a lot, just to get it in there nice and smooth so it don't damage the wall. 80 grit sandpaper. Alright, that still is a bit tight. But really, I'm a little low right here, so let me go up a little higher. See if it's any different right here. I didn't measure the height of this yet, guys, but it is going to be going around here, so it might be a little different. And right here, it fits perfect. It's actually a hair loose, which is good, because then I don't have to struggle with it and I don't have to damage the wall. We're gonna do the same thing over here, check it high. And this is a little tight. Let's sand this down. we got it. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I just took this thing in and out of the house about 5 times. I sanded for a good 10 minutes, but thanks to the magic of editing, you didn't have to witness the boredom. All right, so I have my 2 long pieces here. What I'm gonna do now is measure 3/4 of an inch from the edge so that I can draw a line and mark my holes. All right, now that I have my lines, I'm gonna mark 1 inch from the edges where my holes are gonna go. All right, now I don't know if you guys can see my markings on here as I drew it very light, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my nail, I'm gonna line it up with my marking. I'm gonna push it in a bit. So my drill has a little spot to grab. Notice that these pieces are slightly a different length because my walls were uneven. All right, so we're ready to pre-drill the holes now. I am going to be using my drill block to start the hole. However, I'm gonna have to drill it a second time because of the depth of the block itself. So I'm gonna do that now. Alright, so now that we got our holes started with the drill block, ensuring that they're nice and straight, now we're going to go all the way through. Notice I hung the edges off the edge of the table so that I don't drill through it. Alright guys, so I removed the skateboards that were on these walls. I spackled the holes. I still need to sponge it, get it nice and smooth with the touch-up paint. But before we go any further, I have to figure out the height of this shelf. Also, I'm going to figure out where the studs are so that I can pre-drill my holes for mounting. I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so we need to find the middle between the floor and just under the molding. Before we mark up the wall, we must remember our tape. Because like I said, we don't color on the walls. We're not 4 years old anymore. So I'm gonna put a little tape, eyeball the middle area. I got my little third eye on. Dun, 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 dun. Let's stick that right along the edge right here. Okay. I don't like to press hard on it because I'm afraid I'm going to rip the paint, especially up the corners. There's heavy spackle underneath this paint. So I rip it off hard. I might take the paint off with the spackle because it's a spackled corner. Alright, so rather than measure the entire height in one shot, I'm going to start off by making a 4-foot mark, and then I'm going to measure from the bottom of the molding to that mark. Damn it! Alright, now that we have a 4 feet mark, now we're going to measure from the bottom of the molding to that mark. And we have 45 3/4.
45 3/4.
Alright, so we did a little math. We have 48 inches plus 45.75 equals 93.75 inches. 93.75 divided by 2 equals 46.875. The 0.875 is equal to 7/8, so we have 46 7/8, and that is a middle mark. Alright, so now that we have our middle area marked, what we need to do is center our 2x4 shelf. So what I'm going to do is line up my middle mark with the 1.75 on the ruler, which I did so right here. I'm going to mark the 0 line up here and the 3.5 inch line up here. And now we know exactly where our shelf should come. I did not forget about the thickness of the top that's going on. I'm not going to account for that right now. I can adjust it if I want. As of now, the shelf is centered minus the top. So I can drop it depending on what thickness top I'm going to use. I'm probably not going to because I do have extra space on top because I didn't measure all the way to the ceiling. I only measured to the bottom of the molding. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want the boards pressing against the curved part of the molding. And so yeah, so that's all planned ahead in my brain. Cause I'm a mad scientist. I am out of my mind. Now that we have a mark here, let's also put a little line so that we can see it better. Alright, so what we're doing is we're going to take this bottom of the wall, we're going to center it as best as possible. There we go. And now we're going to figure out where the studs are. Alright guys, so we're going to start right about here. This is the edge of the wall, so I know that this is all solid. So I'm going to start by moving to the right and find the edge, and then we're going to go back to the left. So I'm going to press the button down and slide slowly. Right there is the edge of our stud. I'm going to put a little mark right here, and now I'm going to press down the button and move this way. That is the sound of electrical. So I'm going to put a little E right here to caution myself. That is the outlet right there, I'm assuming. Press back down the button, continue. Something's coming up. That is a stud right there, or the edge of a stud rather. So I'm going to put a line right here. Now, this is going to be solid right here, so I'm going to start on this side, press the button down, and move to the right. Something's coming. And that is the other edge of the stud. So we know that this is all stud right here. I'm going to put an X. Now from here, I'm going to press the button down again and move to the left. That is the sound of electrical. So I'm going to put a little E right here to caution myself. I'm going to press the button down again and continue to slide to the left. And something's coming. And that is the edge of the wall. And we are very close to the doorway opening where the jack and king stud are located, so we know that this is all solid. Alright, so this is what we have here, guys. Wherever I put an X is solid. However, this is very close to the edge of the wall, and my shelf isn't even going to be coming out that far, so this is off limits. We slide down, we have E for electrical. Right there we have a stud that we could screw into. If we slide further down, we have more electrical. And then we have the corner, which is all solid right here that we could screw into. Also, I did the same thing on the other side. I have my middle of the 2x4 shelf where the top is, the bottom. Then I marked my studs. This is all solid. 2x4, electrical, another 2x4. I don't know why these are so close together. And then solid. Alright, so I'm about to pre-drill my mounting holes. I determined that I'm going to be going 3 inches from this end, which will be 1.5 inches from the start of this piece. This way I won't be disturbing the screws. By going 3 inches, I will only be hitting 3 of the 4 studs. Also, you're probably wondering, why don't you just move the screw hole over a bit so that you hit the stud? I wanted the support to be on the ends, and also I wanted the screws to be symmetrical on the inside. And you're probably wondering, but Steve, why are you going to put the screws symmetrical on the inside? You're not even going to see them. I got an idea. We're putting a clear top on this thing. Also, we will be mounting LED lights on the inside so that the light shines through. Alright guys, so I got this piece of plexiglass for free. It's got scratches all over it. I'm going to do my best to salvage it. I'm going to try to chop out the really bad pieces without wasting too much of this, because plexiglass is very expensive, especially this is a 1/2 inch. It's probably over $300 for this piece. I know that in Home Depot, a 1/4 inch plexiglass is about, I believe, $180 for a size this large. So I'm gonna cut out minimal where it's really bad, and I'm gonna just deal with the scratches, try to get them out later on, and hopefully we don't notice them too much. So I'm gonna measure this out, and we're gonna get to work on the top. Alright, so I marked out where the best areas are. This area is pretty badly scratched. This edge is in terrible shape as far as the scratches. You can't see it with the wood I have underneath. The area to the right of this is the best condition, but still contains many scratches. And here I have it marked off as well. So I'm going to try to cut the majority of my area. From here to here, I think it's going to have to extend further because I don't know how big this piece is. I know it's big enough for what I need it for. And I'm going to try to avoid this edge as best as possible too. Alright guys, so we're ready to cut this thing. I got my shelf outline all drawn out. I put tape so that I didn't mess up the edges, or I have to draw on the plexiglass itself. I charged up the battery on my circular saw and changed the blade to, I believe this is 140 or 160 teeth. You can see it right there, so we get a nice buttery cut. Also, I set the depth on this. If I pull this back, you can see I should probably raise it a little bit. I had it perfect depth with the plexi, but I saw that it wasn't cutting it all the way through. So I lowered it a little. It is gonna dig into my particle board, which I really don't care about. I've had this piece forever. It's just my scrap piece of wood that I use to protect the table. The reason that I have the particle board under the plexi is so that when I get to the end of the cut, it doesn't drop and crack it. So let's start cutting, guys. All right, guys, so I'm about to cut this. I put a little extra tape over here so that I didn't damage the plexi. Also, I put a little tape on the bottom of my saw so that I didn't scratch the plexi. I'm wearing some goggles so that I can protect my eyes. Also, when you cut plexiglass, it squeals and it really hurts your ears. I don't own earplugs, so I just grabbed a little paper towel and I wet it. I'm gonna jam these in my ears to do the best I can. Hopefully it helps. I don't know, I've never tried this method of safety before, but I'll let you know how it works out. And now, we're ready to cut, baby. Yeah! Hate that. Battery just died, and I hate it when that happens because I always get like a little mess up in that spot where I try starting again. But these are the brakes. These are the brakes. Break it up, break it up, break it up. I got my other battery charging. I put on the charger before and it said hot cold delay. Because I had the saw out in the sun. So we're gonna switch batteries and hopefully that one will work better. I don't like to stop it, but I had to stop right there. I can't see. The sun is affecting me and my tape is peeling up, so I didn't want to, but I'm like, I can't see the line, so I had to stop. Emergency, emergency. Having problems with this last cut. I can't see too well and my battery keeps dying and overheating because it's over 90 degrees out today in New York, in case y'all don't know. Ah, damn it. I literally have 2 inches to cut and my batteries are dying on me, 2 of them.
That's what you get for stopping and starting, because I think that takes more power. All right, we let this thing charge for another 21 minutes. I literally have to cut about 2 to 3 inches, and then I'll be done with this thing. This cutting of this plexiglass is taking me an hour and a half about, because my battery keeps dying, or should I say my batteries keep dying. So let's hope this is it, guys. Benito, baby! I'm pretty happy with the results. I am going to sand out these edges a little bit, make them look clean. You're never going to see that side. This is really the important side right here, because you're going to see that from the hallway side of the room. But this is the last cut that gave me problems with the battery dying. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with how it turned out. If we go on this side, like I said, you're not going to really see this either, but this cut came out the best, I think. All right, guys, now that we got this done, we're ready to prime. Don't forget your mask.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious, I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. I won't obey. You cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'll live each second like my final day. You can't take that away, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad.